Yo, what up, everyone? I'm Gas, and I'm here with MulletWesker. You can find him over at twitch.tv/MulletWesker. We are here about to talk all about Berserk and just nerd out like crazy. We're going to be playing this Berserk and the Band of the Hawk while we do it because it goes through most of the story, and we kind of want to go through it episode by episode as best we can. But I think that's it. Mullet, what do you got to say?
I've never seen this game before, besides trailers and whatnot, so I'm curious to have you kind of tour me through it while we basically nerd out about whatever we see, I suppose. I haven't really, us Berserk fans, we're like hidden, I feel,
A little bit.
So, yeah, I don't get to nerd out with Berserk people quite often.
Agreed. We are both huge Berserk fans. I suppose we should give a little credit to ourselves. I have, the first time I watched Berserk, I think I was about 10 years old. Way too young to watch it, but that's how it happened. I've read all of the manga to its current state, and I have watched the Netflix movies and the most recent anime.
So you have a little bit on me. I've read all but the last couple volumes of the manga. I'm kind of just letting it build so I can binge it. I've waited years at this point. Well, what's a couple more? We might get one volume a year, right? Seen the original show, seen the Netflix movies. I have not seen all of the new anime. I'm sure we'll get to discussing that at some point.
Yes.
I've played the Dreamcast Berserk game. I've played the PlayStation 2 one. This is the only one I have not actually played.
Oh, yes, I forgot. I've also played the Dreamcast one. I haven't played the PlayStation one, though.
That might be another video sometime to do.
That would be fun. If we could find it. Mm-hmm. Do you have it?
I still have it, and I still have a PS2 that can play it. I just need to find them.
Very nice.
I even have an HD upscaled PS2 port, so I can get a little bit of quality out of that little thing.
Look at that fancy technology you got. That fancy 10-year-old technology.
$15 on the internet. All right, so
quick mention about spoilers. We're going to try to go through episode by episode, but there's bound to be spoilers. Just a fair warning. I figure we'll put warnings up on the screen as well when they happen, but just wanted to get that out of the way now.
Yeah, we should probably say this. If anyone watching or listening has any interest in Berserk, just go read it, go watch it, because this is a story that has such amazing moments. I would feel robbed if I had such a story as Berserk spoiled for me without getting to experience it.
Agreed.
Yeah. I'm putting it up on quite a pedestal, but hey, I think it's earned it, so.
Same here. I feel the same. But alright, I think we're ready to hit go.
Lay through the original story.
Oh yeah, I couldn't figure out how to start a brand new save. So we're just going to do battle by battle, and I'm going to try my best to only use the right skins.
So but wait, default. All your characters are locked.
All my character. Well, that's for the mission. Like I can't use Zod in the very first mission.
That's just like a rule of the game.
Yeah.
I see. That would make sense. Okay.
A cool thing.
We're going with the Japanese voiceover?
Oh, that's all they got.
Oh, really? You can't play this game with an English voiceover?
Yeah, I think the movies have the voiceovers.
Oh, they do.
If I remember correctly.
Speaking of the voiceovers, man, I know a lot of people like to watch most anime in Japanese, but I actually really love the VAs for Guts, Griffith, and Casca in the original 97 show and the Netflix trilogy. The guy that voices Guts is just perfect.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I would definitely agree with that. So much about the old animes are so good. Even like the music.
Oh yeah, dude. I have jammed that music a lot. And if you're out there you're going to read the books, listen to the 1997 anime soundtrack. It puts color to those pages. Let's say that.
It does. All right, here we go. Starting as young Guts.
Oh, so yeah, what's he, 15 years old at this point?
Something like that, yeah. He's quite young.
Alright, so gameplay-wise, this is basically Dynasty Warriors, right?
Yeah, just Dynasty Warriors with a Berserk skin.
Does it try to do anything different? I have played quite a few Dynasty Warriors.
Yeah, so, not really. I guess the difference is just, it's Berserk, it's a little more bloody, and it's, like, one cool thing is the skins for each character. Not all of the skins, but, like, the big difference in skins have, like, different play styles to them. I mean, it's still just button mashing, right?
So, like, if you play as a different version of Guts, you have different abilities or stats?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Like, once I show you the Berserker Armor, oh my god. It's pretty ridiculous.
The most fantastical suit of armor in all fantasy.
Yes. Very much so.
I see Guts has fairy dust even to meet his little flying friend. Puck, that's his name.
Okay. I already see an issue.
What's that?
Sound effects way too loud.
You can probably bring it all to one. Yeah, that's
I'm gonna
good.
bring that down a bit. Alright. But yeah, the game's mostly just button mashing, but I enjoy it, and it's Berserk, so.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is this anything like Devil May Cry? Do we have combos or like super moves? Okay, you're doing something.
Yeah, you get like 2 super moves. I don't know if this skin has the second one, but like this is like just kind of a buff. You pretty much just like kick ass for a while. And then I guess this is one mechanic that's different from Dynasty Warriors. Is has
he gone Berserk?
Not full Berserk. But you see that bar underneath my health, and it has a 1 by it?
Yeah, the short one.
Yeah, so you fill that up by hitting people, and then you use your ability, and then that number goes up. And then I think once it gets to 5 is when you can do like your super power-up move.
Okay.
And that's just like a one-shot kill to like everyone in the area, pretty much.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to see that. Dude, like the opening to Berserk, this battle here against the Shooter army.
Yeah.
In the anime, when Guts walks up to Bazuso, that is just such like an iconic freaking moment.
Yep.
And I mean, is there anything like so okay, when he's fighting Bazuso and he swings his weapon and like the axe cracks.
Yep.
And then, you know, is there anything like that in this game where they give you those moments where like you've exposed an enemy's weakness and then I don't know, you like duel someone?
Nothing like that I can remember. It has been a while since I played this, but I mean, they'll show you the cutscenes. They show you most cutscenes.
Level 2.
Yep. But a cool thing.
Oh shit!
Yeah, you like that?
Yeah, man, you just speared that guy and then chucked him.
The later ones, you actually spear him and then like run with him. His later skins.
Oh, wow.
It's pretty great.
Dude, that reminds me. Now this is way later in the books, but do you remember some point past the eclipse when Guts is in this little village and he needs to like lure out this monster or something, and he puts like a little kid on the end of his sword, not like impales him, but he like hangs the kid by his shirt off the tip of his sword, And he goes running through the streets to lure out this creature.
I do kind of remember. That was during his Black Swordsman days, right?
Oh, yeah, that's when he was like, absolutely fuck everyone else.
Yep. He's just kill, murder, death. Everyone in my way is gonna die.
He didn't kill that kid. That kid lived.
He did, yes. Although probably a little scarred.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you could probably say this about the medieval ages anyway. You know, if you grew up to be an adult, you're probably scarred in some way. But
yeah.
I think that goes like doubly for the Berserk, for Midland.
So I wanted to ask you, what do you think was the best way to start the story of Berserk? Based off of, like, the old anime, the movie. I know you haven't seen the new anime, which is fine. But, and then the manga.
So, I've actually thought about this because I'm a dweeb.
Yep.
And so let me go on a little tangent here. I started Berserk with the Sword of the Berserk Guts Rage game on the Dreamcast. And at the time, I'm like, this is just a cool video game. I know nothing about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I always felt like there was more going on than what the game told me, because the game just picks up in the middle of like the Black Swordsman arc.
Yep.
With no context for who got.
And that one's a totally made-up story too. That's not canon at all.
Yeah, it's a completely made-up story. In fact, if you look it up, I think it takes place between like volumes 22 and 23 of the manga, something like that. But it's never referenced in future books, which, you know, is fine.
Yeah.
So that was my exposure. And then later on, I was at a convention, and I found a DVD seller. And I look on the shelf, and I see this DVD with a guy on it that looks like the Guts from the Dreamcast game. And I'm like, that's got to be the same guy. Because it was his hair.
Yep.
That, like, you know, gave me the connection there. Okay, that was a sweet move. He just like fucking vaulted over his sword and slammed it down.
Yeah. This game is really like visually pleasing.
Yeah. You definitely do some shit right out of the manga. So I bought the DVD, watched it, and that is when I really got hooked on Berserk. I mean, that DVD set was the 97 anime, the 25 episodes. And then I started to read the manga. So when I was reading the manga, I'm like, oh, this starts after the Golden Age, you know, the period that takes place in the 97 show. And then it goes back, and I was like, oh no, I have to read this story again? I just watched all this.
Yeah.
But little did I know, there's so much of the Golden Age they cut out of the anime because, well, they weren't going to get a second season, and it's a show. They just don't have the time and the funds to get every little detail in there.
True.
So I felt like I had a unique experience reading the manga after watching the 97 show. And as any Berserk fan knows, Guts' ultimate goal is to kill Griffith, right?
Yep. Revenge.
And so I avenge his friends, right?
Yep.
Try not to say too much in case anyone here is exposed to Berserk.
Yeah.
And so I got online, this was only like a couple years ago, and I was reading the Berserk Reddit, and somebody asked the question, fans of Berserk who read the manga first, what did you think Griffith was going to do when he betrayed the Band of the Hawk? Because the manga picks up, you know, in the future of the story, where Gus is already on his quest to hunt down Griffith, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if that's your first exposure to the story, all you know is Griffith bad, Guts wants to kill him, and you know there was some kind of betrayal there, but you don't know actually what happened. And that guy's question on Reddit was, you know, what did you think the betrayal, quote unquote, was until you got to the eclipse? And this one guy responded, and he said, you know, there wasn't this tension so much to me of like when Griffith was finally going to betray Guts. It was, what actually is he gonna do? Because as you watch or read the manga, you're like, oh, there are so many opportunities where you're like, oh, this is the moment where the betrayal happens, right? Like their fight after the Battle of Doldry, or just, you know, it could have been a betrayal shortly after they meet when Griffith kicks the shit out of Guts and is like, you're gonna join me.
Yeah, when they had their little duel and Guts walked away.
Yeah,
like,
right, and Griffith was like mind blown, right?
Yeah.
And then he...
My boyfriend left me, no.
Like, yeah, right. And then this guy, I think he ended his comment, I could probably find this if I hunted it down, with after Griffith's torture and subsequent rescue, he as a reader was like, I have no idea what they're going to do. I don't understand how Griffith at this point could betray Guts.
Mm-hmm.
And that to him was giving him this like level of tension that he's never had in a story before, you know?
Yeah, like you just couldn't predict it. And like, I mean, how the hell could anyone predict the eclipse and the sacrifice?
What could Griffith have done after his torture, after his year of torture, to betray anyone?
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, because he was totally like, oh, the cutscene time.
He was a cripple.
Yeah.
To put it, to keep it short. Okay, hey, here's that Bazooso guy.
Yeah, and here's from the...
Dude, this is the movie.
Hey, that's what I'm saying. It's straight from the movie.
The one who killed 30 men at once. I love how, I mean, in classic anime fashion. Oh wow, it's not the whole fight. That's just like an intro.
Yeah, I think you get more later. I think.
Is that their breadwinner? I like how in classic anime / manga fashion, they always have to like describe an enemy by like their feats, what they're known for.
Yep.
And as a series goes on, the level of like how badass someone is continues to go up and up and up. And like they just said, Bazooso fought a bear and won and killed 30 men at once. And like in the Berserk universe, that sounds incredible now, but that's like that would be incredible if a real knight had done that.
Yeah.
Right? And that would probably be that knight's crowning, you know, action for his reputation, for his life.
But when it comes to what Guts can do, that's right. Jack shit.
Right.
I mean, even in the Golden Age, he kills 100 men. That was his crowning achievement.
I was just gonna get to that. So I've noticed actually that in the '97 show and the movies, they always call Guts. Okay, that was some Dragon Ball Z shit.
Yeah, that's his super duper move.
So they call Guts the 100-man Slayer because, you know, he kills 100 men single-handedly in one battle.
Right.
But there's like one moment in the manga, and I don't know if this is a translation mishap. I'm assuming it is, where instead of calling him the 100-man Slayer, someone calls Guts the Century-man Slayer.
Really? I haven't noticed that.
It doesn't roll off the tongue quite as well, but when you think about it, the Century-man Slayer almost sounds more badass to me.
Yeah, what was that trying to say? Like, he just murders people for a whole century, or?
No, I just think it's a more poetic way of saying 100.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, you could kill 100 men, but if you think about it, in some fantastic way, he's robbed 100 humans of their entire lifespans.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, yeah. That's a very good way to put it.
Oh, this is Max Berserk, huh?
Yep.
Wow, I didn't know he had lightning powers.
Oh yeah, of course. That's totally in the anime. Actually, there is a point where he uses lightning.
In
the manga.
Hold on, let me think about this.
It's way later
or earlier?
It's way later.
It's not in the very last 2 volumes that I haven't read.
I guess he doesn't use it, but he is covered in lightning while he's attacking, kind of thing.
Are you talking about when he's teaming up with Mr. Z?
Yep.
Oh, I'm gonna have to read that part again. I don't remember that.
Because he's being electrocuted by the fog dude. I always forget his name.
Oh, dude, there are so many like villains.
Yeah.
In this, I love that. Like every bad guy in Berserk either has like a moment of build-up or has like an entire arc surrounding them. And you remember all of them.
Yeah, one
like,
thing...
all the apostles.
One thing I love about this this writer is the backstories, man. He just makes some badass backstories for every character. Yeah, for every apostle, there's always a badass backstory. Yeah. Super dark.
I think I'm saying his name right. Dude, so here's something I don't think it's in the manga yet, unless it's in the little bit I haven't read. So, you know how Guts basically goes on a quest as he's trying to hunt down Griffith. He's killing every apostle he comes across, right? Mm-hmm. Do we know where the apostle is that chopped off his arm?
It was the slug guy, wasn't it? That he kills in the final one he kills in that arc.
The slug guy, as in like the Duke he kills in the early bits of the manga.
No, not the lizard, the snake dude.
No, I'm not thinking the snake dude. See, this is where things get crazy.
Yeah.
I'm talking in the first couple volumes. After he blows up the seduction apostle with his cannon, and then he goes into a nearby town, and that town has a duke or a mayor who is an apostle, and he's like a short, fat, chubby guy. And when he turns into an apostle, you can then flip to the volume that has the eclipse, and you can see that same guy.
Yes.
Killing people.
But
that's not the guy that bites down on his arm.
That's not. See, I can't remember which one bites down on his arm then. I'd have to look.
Because I feel like I feel like when Guts finds that guy, that would be a very special moment, you know?
Yeah. But I also feel like that won't be a focus of the story. Like, it just won't come up.
No, it won't be like something that has a whole arc dedicated to it, but Guts will probably see that guy and be like, you... or something, you know?
I don't know.
Also, damn, man, Guts killed this guy in 2 hits in the show. I'm not impressed.
I know. Even leveled up all the way, I can't kill Pazuzu. He's killed 30 men, you know.
Pazuzu.
Pazuzu.
Like out of the fucking Exorcist. I think that's Pazuzu.
Pazuzu. Yeah, whatever. I'm horrible with the names.
Yeah.
But,
you know, so can you actually aim the corpse of that guy you impale when you throw him?
Kinda. Not very well. So yeah, we had a little technical issues there, but we are back. So before I kill Bazoso, whatever his name is, I wanted to get back to that conversation about how the story starts.
Okay.
So I would say I really liked the manga was good. It was a good start, but I almost prefer the anime because it was just one episode. It showed the Dark Swordsman, and it showed like the Guts' character. It really did a good job of just showing the Black Swordsman and who he is. And then the next,
much smaller.
Yeah, and then it goes back to the Golden Age right away. Now, where it fails is that it just didn't have a second season, so it never went back into that arc of the Dark Swordsman, which kind of makes that start null and void in a way. Just kind of a waste.
Yeah.
But I would almost rather the manga have just that start and then go into the Black Swordsman after the sacrifice. But at the same time, that moment where he kills the slug guy and then the portal opens and he sees Griffith and you're just like, oh, who the fuck are these guys? Like, I thought this was just a manga about some dude killing demons, and all of a sudden there's like some god thingies and he's trying to kill him, and what is this?
It establishes layers very quickly, and as someone who's never experienced Berserk going straight into the manga, you're probably like, what the fuck is going on, man?
Yeah.
But, I mean, hey, that's got a good hookability. You know?
True.
And like that one Reddit, reply guy was talking about, if you go into the manga first, you have this horrible sense of dread over you the entire time you're reading it, just waiting for the story to catch up to the prologue.
Yeah.
You're like, how's that gonna happen?
And the Golden Age arc is a long arc, so you're waiting a long time.
It is. I mean, it's 9 volumes.
I mean, they made 3 movies out of it, and they cut a lot out. So
yeah. Oh man, I could talk about the cut content for days.
I don't mind it because like it makes sense to me. Just you gotta focus on what's important. And there's a lot of really cool small stuff that makes the story a lot better. But, oh well. It is what it is.
Yeah. Well, on the opposing side, starting with the anime and going into just the one episode of, the one episode snippet of the Black Swordsman arc and then going right back to the Golden Age.
Yep.
So I watched the 97 show in high school. I was probably 16. I think I was 16. And I would try to recommend it to people, but knowing how it starts and how it ends, I would tell people, hey, if you watch this, just trust me, start with episode 2. Completely skip the first episode entirely.
Really?
And I don't think anyone ever listens to this dumb 16-year-old. But I'm curious if anyone did do that, because that way when you get when you get blue balled at the end of the show in the final episode, if you save the first episode for yourself, now you have a little bit of a, something to proceed onward with. And then you're like, oh my god, this story really changes.
Yeah, and then that could get you into the manga, really. Like a nice transition to the manga.
Yep. And as a side note, I would watch, clips on YouTube from time to time to try and show friends why I thought the show was so awesome. I scrolled down to the comments, and I remember this one guy had said, what did you just do here? Did you stun them?
Yeah, it's like a little item.
One guy in the comments, I forget what episode of the show it was, but it was an episode where there was no demons. It was all just human mercenary combat, right? And this guy comments, and he's like, finally, an anime about humans and mercenaries with no demons or rape or nudity.
Oh no.
And I just had to shake my head like...
He's gonna be disappointed.
Looking back on it, I wonder if that guy was trolling, but a part of me hopes that he thought Berserk was just about mercenaries fighting in a medieval war.
Well, and it really was up until pretty much Zod came in. That's when, like, shit hit the fan.
Yeah, it is like that until Zod shows up and you're like, whoa. But then so much happens before the Skull Knight shows up that you almost forget that there were ever supernatural elements in the story.
True, yeah. Alright, I'm gonna kill him. Ray?
Go ahead. Oh, is this like a spectacle?
Gonna be a cutscene.
Yep, you missed. Oh, there we go.
Oh, I guess this isn't the movie cutscene.
Oh my god, it looks exactly like it.
It's pretty good.
Can you imagine that pain, though?
Spare me! Spare me! They missed that part.
Yeah, I was gonna say he did not let Bezuso speak.
So I have a little theory about why the axe breaks. And
the axe breaks?
Yeah, and it's kind of a theory throughout the entire manga and story.
Oh wait, did that even happen just now? I know we just watched the cutscene, but I can't even remember.
Yeah. Like in the manga and stuff? Yeah, it happened like that.
Yeah.
There was dialogue, but that was the only difference. But
wait, I love this music.
Yeah, you do? The little medieval.
Yeah, like what a perfect tune.
Was that like a fife? I'm trying to think of like old medieval instruments.
Oh, I don't know, man.
A lute, a fife? I don't know. I'm just saying words at this point.
People to know about that.
Yeah.
But so your theory.
So yeah, I have this thought that and I can't tell you all of it because you haven't caught up on the manga, you butthole.
Oh, all right. Well, give me 75%.
Yeah. So the theory is basically Guts cannot die, and as you see throughout the story, he gets so close to death so many times, right? And he just does feats that humans shouldn't be able to do. Which, you could just chalk that up, oh, it's an anime, whatever, right? But I like to think that he can't die because, one, there's this overlying theme of destiny, right? Throughout the whole story. And I'm thinking the gods, the God Hand, it is the ones in control. And they know they need Guts to survive, and they know Griffith wants him alive. So they purposely keep him alive and, like, give him luck or whatever they need to survive. So even here, at this point in the story, I would say the axe broke because of, like, the God Hand's will, basically.
So you're basically saying fate, in a way, is keeping Guts alive.
Yeah, but also that the God Hand is controlling that fate. So it's not like a too crazy theory.
It's not too.
I'm sure
crazy
others have thought of
right.
it.
There are lots of themes of fate and destiny in Berserk, and Guts has literally lived by a thread more than once.
He's done crazy
in
stuff.
dire situations. Okay. Is that the whole theory? Before I do my counterpoint.
There was a little snippet, but I won't tell you.
Okay. That's what I haven't read yet.
Yeah, it's literally in the last chapter that
I'm gonna read them this weekend. I have them on the shelf behind me.
Oh my god, what are you doing with your life?
I just moved and trying to stream, and I got a dog recently, so
all I'm hearing is excuses. Berserk is top priority.
Berserk is life. Berserk is love. Okay, what was I going to say to that? So I read another conversation on the internet between other Berserk fans, and people were talking about fate and destiny and God's will. And similar to what you said, the God Hand has some kind of plan, right? Because... Well, I mean, it seems to be that way.
They do. They mention that the eclipse happens every, 2,000 years or something like that. There's a time to it.
It is a cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we don't... I'm sure some Berserk superfan could probably correct us. But I don't think we know what happens when this cycle comes to a close.
Not yet.
Not yet. And what kicked it off was Griffith taking up the final place of the God Hand and the worlds merging. But the difference this time, quote unquote, is that the Skull Knight and Guts are both opposing the God Hand and are strong enough to actually do it.
Well, those are assumptions. One, we don't know if they're strong enough. We want them to be strong enough. Also, we don't know if they're not part of their plan. Because the God Hand is one of the most, just mysterious things in the story. You just don't know.
They are. They're largely absent from the story after the eclipse. They only get snippets. But what I wanted to point out was that someone mentioned that the God Hands are, they're gods, right?
Or devils.
Somebody else was...
One of the two.
Right. And somebody else was like, but you're wrong. They're not. Yes, they're metaphysical beings with supernatural powers. But if you think about it, the God Hand are all ex-humans.
I can't say. You have to read the manga, man. There is a thing that they showed in the very last chapter that made me go, oh,
Oh no. Okay.
Okay. But yeah, you're right, but there is a little bit more to it.
Man, you are killing so many more people now than poor Earl and
I know, there was 3 people I killed.
Yeah.
And it's now it's the whole army.
Not very faithful to the plot. I gotta knock points there. 142. That is the give or take a couple hundred.
Yeah, but it's Dynasty Warriors, so one person actually equals 1,000 people.
Yeah. So let me finish my thoughts, I guess, on your
Mm-hmm.
theory. I hope in the end that Guts truly is not alive just because of fate. I'm perfectly okay with him surviving because Zod shows up and says, "No, I need him alive so I can fight him later."
Mm-hmm.
You know, or the God Hand says, "No, I don't want him to die yet. We're still enjoying him." Like what's Slan? Slan loves Guts, dude.
Is that
The violence and the pain and the lust?
yeah?
She's
The
the
boobs.
Batwoman.
Yep.
The boobs, yeah, I guess. I tried to give her a bit more, call out her characteristics of
Yeah.
Batwoman. You know, because Guts and Slan end up having a battle, and Slan is just like, "Oh my god, I just love this. It's fantastic."
Yeah. Well, and I love that about her because she is the embodiment of lust, and it's like to the fullest extent. She loves everything. Pain,
right.
sex,
She loves,
everything.
She loves emotions in their full intensity.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I really don't want all of Guts' struggles to boil down to, well, he got here because he was destined to. You
Mhm.
know? Because here's something else to notice. Griffith takes, right?
Yep.
He takes the king's gold. He takes the lives of his members. He takes ownership of Guts' life. You know?
Yes. Forcefully.
Guts, on the other hand, he gives in a certain way.
Fucking
He
Corcus.
always sacrifices a part of himself before he would allow his own friends to be hurt.
True.
And you see this in him losing an eye, losing an arm. I mean, the
He
closest
fights
Guts
for
has ever
his
been-
allies. That's like his version of giving.
Right.
He
Right. He cares about people in his own way. Whereas Griffith cares about what the people around him can do for
yes.
him. You know, that's the distinct difference. And I would just hate for all of that character to boil down to, you know, like swap out Guts for any other protagonist and put him in this world. Would they have gotten as far as Guts has?
So I actually watched something recently on this, and it was a very similar conversation because it's like part of us could definitely believe. I think every Berserk fan could believe that. You know what? The writer could just say,
Did he kill you?
no, just cussing.
Oh.
But
Sorry, continue.
yeah, the writer could just be like, Guts ends up losing at the end, the cycle continues, and like he couldn't beat Destiny. Destiny is undefeatable, and that's the end of the anime, right? That could be because it's such a dark fucking show that it's not that out there to have a dark ending like that. But I would say that that's not gonna happen because it defeats the purpose of the theme. It just kind of like wastes the story. Guts is fighting
you're saying it
against
could
Destiny. Go ahead.
Yeah. You're saying it could end with Guts losing.
It could, yeah. It wouldn't. It would surprise me, but not like a ton.
I would be okay with that under one condition.
If Griffith dies,
No. If Guts finally dying changes something in Griffith. Because everything Guts has worked for, has fought for, has got to amount to something, even if he doesn't live to see that something happen. You know what I mean?
true.
I don't think that's going to happen because I don't think Griffith is the type of person to change. Especially after everything he has gone through as both a human and a metaphysical creature.
Yeah, very true.
You know, it just...
That would be an interesting way to end it.
Think about it this way. Has anything Guts done post-Eclipse stopped Griffith from achieving his dream?
No, he's barely touched Griffith. He's barely ran into Griffith.
Right. I mean, at most, Guts has killed some members of his army. That's about it.
That's interesting that you say, because that would almost make it a story about Griffith and not a story about Guts, if that's the ending he takes.
It would definitely change.
It would be this.
Also, let's divert for a second, and I just want to talk about how awesome it is that Miura writes in all these acute details, like the fact that Guts was gonna bleed to death, or that like his body had no warmth because he had lost so much blood that Casca had to sleep next to him to help his body stay
Dude,
warm.
it's such a good introduction to Casca. Like, she fights, and she fights hard as a woman.
Dude, she is a badass, man.
Yeah, oh yeah. She's the best, other than Guts and Griffith, she's the best fucking fighter in this army.
And don't forget that for a whole year, she was the leader of the Hawks.
True. Very true.
Also, you never see that cat again.
Is that true? That's such a weird thing to notice.
Yeah, it stands out to me because they cut to it, but then that cat is never seen in like any of the scenes where they're hanging out. The Hawks are just hanging out, you know, or making.
Maybe it sacrificed itself for Griffith. Griffith put it in a suit of armor and sent him out.
Let's talk for a second. Who's your favorite member of the Hawks? Sans the three main.
Oh man, I think I gotta go Pippin.
Judo, Pippin.
I love Pippin. I mean, okay, Judo is also. I relate to Judo a lot, so I would probably go with Judo. But man, Pippin is so likable. He's just a big old brute, but he's like a gentle heart, and he has barely any dialogue. But he's there.
My one buddy in college loves.
He also dies the coolest.
He was like, right? He throws up a last stand like no other. Oh man, now I'm just thinking of so many other sequences.
I know, right?
I think one of my absolute favorite sequences in this entire story is the escape from the prison tower, the underground prison tower.
Yeah, I remember you mentioning that before.
Because like, there are moments where Guts gets mad, and it's, you know, oh, people are trying to kill me, and I just need to survive. And then there are times when he's mad because people have done something to strike him at his core.
Yeah. Like that, yeah, the torturer guy, and then he just... Dude, there's so many good lines during that scene, too, because he's like, haha, this door is 3 times bigger than a normal door. No one can slice through it. Yep. Guts kills him. Yep. And then later, when he's running up the tower, they shoot him in the arm, and they're like, oh, he's shot in the arm. He can't swing his sword anymore. Yeah.
Oh, man. All right, we gotta talk about this moment. The moment where the dialogue seems to change every time the scene is written or animated.
Yeah.
Because like I convinced a group of college friends to watch these movies with me, and it was at this point where they're like, "Dude, what the fuck is this? What are you making us watch?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Guys, you just gotta stick with it. I promise you, it's gonna get so much better. It'll stop being weird."
I mean, this isn't the weirdest moment. If I remember correctly, these movies skipped out the water fight between them, right? The nude water fight.
Yes, the bucket fight. The nude bucket fight.
That was definitely the weirdest moment between them. But
is that in the manga?
Yeah, I'm pretty positive. The animes are pretty good at sticking to the manga. If anything, they don't add things, they take things away.
Yeah, it's weird. The 97 show is slower and more detailed than the Netflix movies, which I prefer, but they cut all of the content that alludes to the future story, like Puck, Skull Knight, Williad.
They had Skull Knight in the movies, didn't they? They had a quick little snippet.
In the movies. I'm talking the 97.
Oh.
Yeah.
True.
And then in the movies, which, you know, repeats the Golden Age, they bring back all of the stuff that relates to much later in the manga, but the movies go by so quickly, no time to really focus on some things. Like Zod's introduction and fight is, I think, lackluster compared to his introduction in the 97.
Yes, I would agree to that. I still think they did a good job for what it was. But I would definitely
Yeah,
agree.
it's not
97 was
bad.
better because there was a whole episode about Zod in the 97.
Yeah, right. And it's like an 8-minute sequence maybe in the movie.
Oh, this is one of my
Because-
favorite parts too.
Oh god, this is like the worst thing you could ever.
I know, but it's so ballsy.
Like he was leaning and forward on the sword, and in the next cut, it's just missing.
Hey, Guts' mouth is stronger than Griffith's muscles, hand muscles, I guess.
Oh my god.
I don't know.
You know what else Guts could have done in that situation? He could have just let go of his sword and
Stepped to the side and then like
Punch him.
tried to pick up Griffith and body slam him or something.
Yeah.
You know?
True.
Like, do you ever watch those videos of like expert swordsmen or armor makers critique scenes from movies and games?
I don't think so. No.
They're like videos on YouTube, and some of them are pretty interesting. And they're like, see, in this video, the character fights the way a knight really would by the way they place their hands on the sword, and then they give it like a rating of like how accurate
Yeah.
it is to real medieval combat. I would love to see someone do that with Berserk, just because Guts is so. I mean, no one ever fought like
Yeah,
that.
I mean, he picks up his Dragon Slayer sword with his mouth at one point, so I don't think it's too realistic.
I'm even just talking Golden Age. Guts,
Yeah.
When he's arguably the most human.
Yeah, very
You
true.
know?
Because I mean, Dark Swordsman Guts, he has muscles on top of muscles. Like, there's you know how there's
Yeah,
a
dude,
thigh
there is
gap.
a power
There's
shift.
like Guts has like an armpit gap because of his muscles.
Hey, look, it's Link from Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, right. The only
Oh,
survivors,
Rickard, man.
or the only survivor.
What?
I mean,
These people die?
no, not at all. Pippin with his famous
Hey.
line, "Hey."
Yeah.
Oh, fucking Corcus, you sour butt.
Hey, so this is a theory I've had just based on the way the two characters interact. Are Corcus and no, this is probably wrong.
Have you ever thought that Corcus and Casca were siblings?
No, I mean,
I
don't
want to
think
say
so.
a part like maybe it's just the way they're drawn in the movies or the show, but I swear at times they seem to have like similar skin tones, and the way the two of them in particular bicker with one another struck me as like brother sister bullshit.
See, now I can play as other people.
Oh, dude, you can play as Juno?
Yeah, dude.
Or is it Juno or Judo?
Judo. Yeah,
Okay.
Judo.
I swear somewhere his name is Juno or pronounced Juno in one of the dubs, but I could be wrong.
So, speaking of him, going back to my favorite character,
Oh, you clearly don't play as him.
no, not really. I mostly have Guts up. I think I have Zod all the way, yeah. And then, like, all these levels, they start at these levels, too. So, I've played, like, a little
Because
Serpico.
you don't unlock them for a while.
Yeah. I haven't played... I've played quite a bit of this, but not enough.
Wait, is William or Wild, however you say that, he's a playable
Yeah.
character?
And
Oh
you
my
can
God.
turn into... Him and Zod, you can turn into the Apostle form.
Oh boy.
Oh, yeah. But, yeah, what I was saying, Judio, the thing that I relate to him is his moment before Guts leaves. They have a conversation. And,
You mean before Guts leaves the
yes,
band?
before him and Griffith have their little fight.
When he asks him, what are you going to do?
Yeah. He says something, and he describes himself, and I just related to it, where he says, like, see me, I can do a lot of stuff, and he starts, like, playing with knives and stuff. Like, I know how to throw knives, I know how to use crossbow effectively, swordplay. I can do a lot of stuff pretty good, but I'm no master to one thing. And he was kind of saying, like, Guts is the master of whatever. I can't remember exactly, but...
Guts is the master of sword fighting with a weapon the size of your own body.
yeah.
Yeah, dude.
But, I don't know. That line I just related to really hard.
Yeah. I think one of my favorite scenes is right before or after that one, where basically a Goku shows up, and like a bunch of other members of the Band of the Hawk, and they're like, Commander Guts, are you leaving?
Yeah.
And he's like,
Oh, now I know what you mean by Goku. Okay, I had to think for a second. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what
Yeah,
I'm talking about? And they're like, we're coming with you, and you can't stop us. And there is just this like look of confusion, and then like I don't want to say happiness, but almost like Guts suddenly becomes centered. You know?
Yeah, because he's
Like,
never
it
had
dawns on
someone
him
like
for
that.
a brief moment that he has found what he's wanted to find outside of the murder and the swing of the sword.
And he has a similar moment later during the, I forget which arc, but it's when he has his like shriek and Ishidoro, yeah, the second band essentially, where they just like, I think they just killed like a troll and like the water lizard thing.
Oh, is that during the troll assault on the village?
I might be mixing it up. I don't remember exactly, but I know he has a moment where they're all walking away after like a big battle, and he's like, "Wow, I never thought I would have this again." Kind of thought.
Oh, and he thinks of the hawk.
Yeah, right. He thinks of the Band of the Hawk. He's like, "I never thought I would have this again."
Man, this story is written so well.
Yeah, I mean, between those two moments, hundreds of chapters.
Yeah. It's moments like that that make me really, really appreciate a story. Like, have you read, to dive off for a second, have you ever read the Walking Dead comic?
No, I haven't read it, no.
It does stuff like that, where you'll see something or there's a line, and you're like, oh yeah, I remember that 50 issues ago.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's just, sometimes that gets lost in the you know, the animes,
The TV shows.
and the movies of Berserk,
Oh.
because there's just not enough time. There's not enough build-up, you know?
Yeah. Because there's a lot to it, man. Like, just to go into one character's backstory, like one apostle's backstory,
Right.
could be a 3-4 issue or a 3-4 episode thing.
Dude, are we ever gonna get more information on Skull Knight or Zod? You know?
You gotta read these new chapters, man.
God damn it, man.
God damn it.
All right.
I mean, there's not much info on Skull Knight, but there's a lot of like, oh yeah, okay.
Oh, I'm sure it's Griffith.
It's kind of just confirming things that we've all thought, pretty much.
I'm fine with that, man.
So have you played the Dreamcast game?
Yeah, with the lion dude as your big boss. The lion-looking dude.
yes,
He's not an actual lion. He just has like his hair
Duke,
is a mane.
Duke Balzac.
Duke Ballsack?
Balzac. with his D.
Okay.
I'm not making this up. That is the character's name.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yes, Duke Balzac.
Yeah. And yeah, he's got like his hair and his beard looks like an orange and white lion mane.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dude, the Zod fight in that game was just insane.
Dude, look up the so that game has really good music that's very similar to the 97 show. The boss music for Zod's battle is so weird. It like starts with this weird like snake charm kind of feeling. And it just you just have to
Yeah,
listen
I don't
to it.
remember.
It's so fucking cool. The gameplay in that one is weird. Like, it's good when you're in open areas, but it unfortunately gets kind of shitty in tight quarters because they made the awful decision to have Guts' sword bounce off.
Yeah, it's like the Dark Souls 1
Yeah.
mechanic, where every time
Yes,
you get too close
except-
to a wall, you just die.
Right. But it's fucking Guts' Dragon
Yeah.
Slayer, man. The thing is like 7 feet.
And that's the thing, like, there's only one part in that game. I remember it, because it's not worth to actually fight anyone. You just have to run past it. But you're, like, in the story, you're, like, running. And there's mercenaries, a bunch of crossbow mercenaries, which the crossbowmen were, like, OP in that game. And, yeah, if you fought, you couldn't, because it was, like, running through hallways and corridors and stuff, that it would take too long to kill people. so the best way to do it was just run past.
Yeah, if you play that game and you skip all the cutscenes and you run past all of the non-important fights, you could beat that game in like 30 minutes, 45
Super
minutes.
fast.
Yeah. Now, do you remember the plot of that game?
Yeah, like he gets there and there's strange there's like a band of entertainers and one of them is like an apostle creature, but it's not an apostle. And then you
he's a Mandragoran mutant.
Yeah, and like something like the apostle that was there was creating those guys or something along those lines, right?
Actually, I don't remember. So yeah, Guts is just traveling with Casca, and he runs into a group of circus performers, and they get attacked by bandits. You help them, and then you both go into the city ahead. And one of the circus performers has like this giant mutated head growing out of his back, and his hood falls off during his performance, and the townsfolk are like, "Oh my God, he's mutated! Get the fuck out of here!" And they start like throwing rocks at him and shit. And it's like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
And then he transforms, you know, and Guts is like, "Oh God damn it!" And you know, does his thing. And
He's a
kills it.
tough fight too. I
And that's
remember
what-
that.
It is, dude. And the music for that battle, also good. So, I'm trying to think. Eventually, at Balzac's request, Guts travels to this remote village where the Mandragoran plant that turns people into these mutants is supposed to, like, originate. And there is some kind of big monster in the basement that was like this little kid that got transformed. And like that's where all the Mandragoran seeds come from, I think.
Yeah.
But I don't remember if an apostle was actually a part of it.
There was that
'cause I know the
priestess,
story had to
like
be
the
totally
boss was the
standalone.
priestess, and it was like a plant
Yeah.
demon thing. But I don't remember if it was an apostle or not either.
That story actually, there's like a cutscene where it shows you the history of the little kid dying basically, and the music and the animation of that cutscene is actually really sad. I would just look it up as a Berserk fan. It's good. I still remember the way it looks and sounds today in my head. I haven't played the game in like 6 years.
I barely remember it, to be honest.
Yeah. It does not. It does not link to any other part of the Berserk story. Casca's there, but she mostly just hides in Balzac's castle while Guts goes on his mission.
Yeah.
And then at the very end, Skull Knight shows up and like swallows the Bailey. It's basically fan service for Berserk fans.
Yeah, just a little extra Dark Swordsman arc kind of stuff. I guess that has to be...
Yeah.
God, that would have to be after the conviction if it was canon, because he was with Casca.
It is. Because Conviction is where is the Tower of Uber Religion.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah. Dude, that arc.
It's my favorite
so
arc.
good, too.
That's why, talking about the
really
new
need to
anime,
read the whole
that's
thing.
one of the two reasons why I like that anime. And I know
Maybe I'll comment.
just for the record, because I know people are going to trash on me for saying I like that anime. I do know why you don't like it. I agree probably with everything you have to say about it.
Everyone out there shaking their head right now. I'm right there with you.
Yeah. But, man, there's two things that I liked about that anime, and that was one of them.
Just getting to see
Yeah.
that arc in some sort of anime
Yes.
form. Oh man, what? And then you have not played the PlayStation 2 game,
No.
have you?
I'm kind of lost with where we are in the story. We're at the Battle of Tudor, or the Battle of something. Wait.
You're still
Invasion
young
of
Guts, right?
Tudor.
Yeah, this is like Guts' first battle with the Band of the Hawk. I think the bad guy here is that like really pompous, blonde noble
Oh
in like
god,
the blue and white
that was
armor.
one thing I'm glad
Yeah.
they cut out of the movie was him. That was one thing I was very happy about. And actually, in the manga, I liked him. But man, the 97 anime was just so over the top with him. It really like ruined the mood of it. He was just the comedic relief in a story that did not need comedic relief.
I don't know. I think the comedic relief in Berserk is pretty on point. So the PS2 game actually takes place. It is canon. It actually
Really?
follows the manga. God, at what point? Okay, so you know the sequence after Guts returns to, is it Gordo, the blacksmith?
I think Gordo, or something similar at least.
So, the game starts when he returns to Gordo, and you know how he confronts Zod in the mass grave.
Yeah. Oh, that's how it starts, huh? Because I've seen that
That's how the game
cinematic.
starts. Like you get a couple minutes of fighting regular enemies like snow monsters and undead, but then boom, within 15 minutes, you're fighting Zod, and it is intense.
And then the game continues up through the assault on the village from all the trolls and goes into the forest. I think it ends like shortly after he gets the Berserker Armor. And I want to say the final boss is like, it's like a gauntlet. Like you fight, I'm going to butcher his name, Garoonbird.
Oh,
the
yeah,
dragon
the
guy.
diamond. Oh, yeah, that's at the very end, like literally right after. Like he puts on the Berserker armor to fight him, pretty much.
And then fights that guy, because he knows he's gonna get his shit wrecked if he doesn't. So yeah, you fight the dragon and then you fight Zod, and I think that's the end of that game. But there's actually a side plot that they added to the game because they knew people who weren't Berserk fans probably weren't going to buy it if there wasn't some sort of original complete story to tell. And there's a side story in there about this little kid who has this ability to like create like physical personifications of a person's nightmares and traumas. And shortly after the fight with Zod, at the start of that game, Guts gets confronted by all the dead members of the Band of the Hawk.
Interesting.
And it's like a boss battle with their ghosts. And so in between the actual narrative of the manga, you encounter this kid, and he's like the villain of the game.
Interesting.
Yeah. And hey, the audio problems went away.
Well, that's good. So yeah, that mission was kind of boring. Because it was just...
Yeah, nothing too significant there.
What was his first
I don't
battle?
know, is he a child or an
that
adult?
I'm thinking now.
You mean their first battle once Guts joins?
Because I know in the movie, it kind of cuts the first battle. And it goes straight to where he's like charging in that field by himself against like the super iron big black the purple rhino knights. That's what they always had, like a crazy name with those guys.
The White Tiger.
Yeah.
I wanna borrow those names for a D&D campaign sometime. No, I think the first battle he has after joining the Hawks, he's still young, and I want to say he's providing backup.
Yeah, it's when they're retreating, right? Yeah, it's coming back to me.
Yeah. Yep.
That was a good one.
See, man, Griffith, he's got vision. He's the kind of guy who walks into the office and he's like, I've got a vision and we're going to do all this cool shit. And everyone else is like, dude, I just want to get my work done and go home. Like,
yeah, right?
You're making this way too hard. Damn, they are giving you his ambition early in this game.
Well, I think
because you belong.
I don't know if this is the exact dialogue, but I know this is the moment where they would have that water fight, the nude water fight.
It's neither nobility nor royalty. There's a difference.
Yeah. Nobility is just kind of like rich people. Royalty, I think, are people in charge.
And they're the bloodline.
Yeah.
What have I been doing these past years since I left that place? Running from one battlefield to the next. I mean, Guts is doesn't the Skull Knight call him the Great Struggler, or just the Struggler?
The Struggler. Yep. A lot of I don't know. I kind of want to wait before I get into my theories with the Skull Knight, which probably aren't even theories anymore. They're probably pretty much confirmed at this point. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of, we all saw it coming kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, of what I remember of the Skull Knight, well, I guess if you don't want to give your theories, I'll just yap about them. I remember that someone in the story says that they think, or no, they don't think, because no one sees the Skull Knight except Guts, right? Or at least the Skull Knight doesn't reveal himself to anyone but Guts.
Eventually he does.
Oh yeah,
like way later though. We're talking after the sacrifice,
later.
after Black Swordsman arc.
After the eclipse, yeah. Once he's got Bane of the Hawk 2.
Yeah.
Boogaloo.
Oh, here's what it is.
It's when they're doing the rescue mission for Griffith and they're going into the reverted tower. That Judo starts talking for some reason about a king in a kingdom, and his kingdom disappeared overnight in a raging storm.
Yeah.
And when he describes the king, I guess he was a warrior king that would ride into battle as like a general.
So this is one of the
basically,
things that's pretty much confirmed at this point.
Oh, that guy is.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't straight up said, oh, he's Grundy or whatever the guy's name is, but it's like, come on. They've hinted at it enough. Like,
yeah, right, yeah, because Judo described this guy, and at that point, Guts had one interaction with Skull Knight, and then he has this look on his face like, oh, like the light bulb.
Yeah, because at that point, the only comparison is that, like, they said he rode with a helmet that looked like a skull or some shit like that.
Yes, exactly. And, you know, if the point of that little backstory was not to give you an idea of who the Skull Knight was, then Miura's not stupid. He doesn't waste his pages, at least not a lot of them. And so what would that story exist to do for the plot of Berserk? A red herring? A distraction? You know?
Someone for Guts to relate to, because, I mean, no one can relate. Alright, I'm just gonna get into it. I'm just gonna get into the Skull Knight stuff.
Oh, okay.
So...
Spoilers,
yeah,
everybody.
Spoilers. Skull Knight is pretty much Guts. Not, like, exactly Guts, right? It's not the same character. But
he is what Guts will become if Guts doesn't change his course of
yes,
fate.
and,
I've read that story.
yeah, that's what I mean. It's pretty much a theory that, like, we've all kind of had. It's pretty normal theory. But, and I'm, alright, can I just give you a spoiler? I fucking can't, dude.
Well, hold on. Let me just say words, and you can confirm or deny.
Okay.
So, the way Judo describes the Skull Knight when they're trekking down into the reverted prison tower, he says that his kingdom disappeared overnight in a terrible storm. And we now know that when the God Hands are summoned, there's like a storm/tornado that like siphons away that pocket of reality.
Yes.
Okay, so I don't think it's a far stretch to say that the Skull Knight, as a king, to get more power, sacrificed his entire kingdom.
Correct.
For strength.
Well...
But...
Go ahead.
Go
ahead.
Let me just work on it a bit more. I like that idea, but it doesn't make too much sense. It makes some sense, but not too much, because one, the Skull Knight doesn't look like an apostle. I mean, as far as we can tell, he's a skeleton wearing plate mail, and he doesn't, like, shift. You know, he doesn't transform.
Special kind of plate mail.
That's a special kind of plate mail, right? And his horse also is, like, undead. What the fuck? You know? So... And I want to say Skull Knight is the one that tells Guts about the armor, about the Berserker armor.
He talks about it, and he doesn't tell him about the Berserker armor, I think, but he does like talk like he knows how to use it.
Because he's worn it before, as a human, right?
Yeah. You could assume, yes.
Right, and we know that like the witch, I can't remember her name. She does shit for Guts. Like she will, like mind meld with him when he's really losing it in the Berserker armor. She'll paint like sigils over his brand so he experiences less pain.
A quick mention.
So we know.
Speaking of the witch, but Shriek's master also knew the Skull Knight, and Shriek's master was the one who had the Berserker armor.
Yes, and so my thinking is that the Skull Knight very much was like Guts, and that maybe he had his own Griffith, maybe he is from the previous cycle of the God Hand's birth and death, and, if that were the case, well, if he were human, he'd be dead from age alone. He's not an apostle based on his physical form, so my thinking is that the Skull Knight, essentially, Shirk's master transferred him into a different set of armor, and he's not, there's nothing physical, there's nothing organic about him anymore. At least that's my impression of the character.
So, I'm going to take that a step further and say he has his own Berserker armor. Because the whole thing with the Berserker armor is that it will keep you alive no matter what, as long as you have it. So, my theory is that, and this is not, well, this was kind of confirmed, but he is alive only because of that armor. So if he took it off, he would die. And he's a skull because he's just lost all of his flesh throughout the years and whatnot, throughout countless battles.
So he's... Okay, so
Which...
you're saying when he still had an organic body, he put the armor on, and because it's magical armor, it will keep him alive no matter what happens to him. And from that immortality, he has stayed alive long enough to essentially lose his fleshly body.
Yes.
From
and
battle.
there is hints of this that I can tell you. That's not spoilers for you, at least. Because he does tell Guts, like, wearing that armor, you will eventually lose your sight. You will eventually lose this and lose this, essentially, in my eyes, hinting that he knows that only through experience. He has lost those things. He can't see. He can't hear. I mean, somehow he magically does, but you get the point.
Well, that's where Shirk comes in.
Or Shirk's master.
Yeah. True. I didn't think about that too much, but that could be the correlation between them, that Shirk's master was Shirk to Guts as in,
Right.
I'm saying that kind of poorly, but...
It's a cycle, man. History is repeating itself. I love how we're talking about shit that is so far away from
I know, right? But this...
Oh, hey, Guts grew up now. Now he's like, what?
Yeah, he's now the leader of the Raiders. That was the latest thing that happened, I think. But yeah, there's the last two battles were kind of just like, killed these people. No crazy story stuff.
We're on, what was that, the Wind of Swords?
Yeah, so 3 years have passed since Guts placed his sword in the service of Band of the Hawks.
Captain of
Guts,
the
now
Raiders.
Captain of the Raiders, unleashes the tempest of his own sword on the battlefield once again. So I think this is when he rushes the battle by himself. I think that's what this battle is supposed to be.
Yeah, this is the battle that picks up in the first film after Griffith beats him. Yep, and then Nosferatu Zod.
Which, by the way, I noticed they basically gave up on
Referring to him as Nosferatu Zod after the Golden Age.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of a mouthful, but it does sound pretty dope.
Oh, dude, super dope. I mean, before you knew what he was, I thought he was like a vampire,
But yeah, he's just like an immortal, in theory. at least to humans.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm sure people back in the medieval days, you know, for a couple, maybe 1,000 years or so, had stories of, you know, legends, warriors, nightmares, ghosts that would appear on the battlefield. Like, that doesn't surprise me at all.
Well, and that's going back to the Skull Knight. That's an interesting thing that we still have not learned. Why is Zod and the Skull Knight mortal enemies?
Yeah, well...
Or is it just Zod likes a good fight and the Skull Knight can give that?
Well, based on what we just discussed, I can almost guarantee you part of the reason Skull Knight doesn't have any of his flesh left is because of Zod.
I would believe it.
And don't they say that the rumor of Nosferatu Zod has been around for 300 years?
Yeah, which would not fit the cycle.
No, but if Skull Knight is as old as the cycle, you know...
But which cycle is the question? Because I think they talk...
Is it really every 2,000 years? I thought it was like 250.
It's like 250 for one God Hand. So I'm talking the entire cycle is the entire God Hand.
It's a total millennia.
Yeah. Something along those lines. I don't know the numbers exact.
Here they are, the purple Rhino Knights. No,
Ram,
black
Iron.
Ram, Iron Lance, Heavy Cavalry.
Yeah, I know, right? It's such a mouthful. But the purple Rhino Knights, I think, are the ones guarding that giant castle.
Dude, the king would never be there.
Oh, in battle?
Not that close. A non-warrior king that close to a fucking army of heavy armored cavalry?
Well,
Hell no.
The idea, it's not too outlandish, because the whole thing about those guys is that they're just cutting through their ranks, so that's the only piece of infantry close to the king.
Oh my god, this movement on the horse looks terrible.
It's not great. I can just do this for years.
It's not great. Right, it just looks like you move so fast and don't have good...
I like doing this.
Oh my god. Yeah, dude, the PS2 game is nothing like this. In fact, you can
I don't remember how to get off the
game.
horse. Get me off. I know, I was just mashing buttons. There, I did it somehow.
Time to make things wilder. I don't think you ever say that.
I don't think so either.
Is the gameplay any different between young Guts and grown-up Guts?
Yeah. Let me see.
Nice. Sidebar, you ever play Dragon's Dogma?
No, I haven't.
Bro, in Dragon's Dogma, it's, I believe it's pretty difficult to acquire, but you can actually get Golden Age Guts' armor and sword in that game.
Really?
And the white armor and falchion of Griffith, too, for your characters.
It's pretty cool.
Yep, and in that game, you have a pawn, as it's referred to, an NPC companion that you can like choose their class and fighting style. So you could be Guts or Griffith and make your pawn the other.
Wow, that's pretty dope.
Yeah. Yep. And his sword doesn't have a name in the story of Berserk, at least not this one. And in that game, they call it the Sword of 1,000 Limbs.
Nice. You know, that just reminds me, something that they brought into the manga and the story, very small little snippet, and they haven't talked about it much since, is they say that Guts' sword has this, like, dark magic to it, like a dark aura, and they're like, maybe this is why he's killing the apostles, because he has this, and it's just, they just explain it as, like, it's killed so many people that it now has magic powers, essentially.
So I know what you're talking about, and funny enough, I remember this because you ever watch Screw Attack's Versus series where they, like, you know, do the math on two fictional characters and have them duke it out in an animation?
Yeah, I think so. I've seen, like, videos
So
like that. I don't know if I've seen exactly Screw Attacks.
They did an episode of Guts versus Nightmare from Soul Calibur, I think. And I'm like, oh, okay, let's fucking, check this out. And they talk about, I mean, they really go into detail and do their research on, like, what everyone's abilities are and, like, what the heaviest object they've ever moved or picked up was and shit like that. And they talk about how Guts' sword has been covered in enough demon blood that I think it exists in both the physical material world, the normal world, and the interstice, which is where the demons come from, like the undead and the ghosts. So when the sword moves through the air, it's cutting through 2 separate dimensions at once.
Interesting.
Which I think is why Guts can kill supernatural foes like ghosts and skeletons and zombies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
I think. Take that with a grain of salt. I definitely need to read that again. But I'm like, yeah, that's pretty
Yeah,
fun.
because they say something, not those exact words, but they do say something about that in the manga. But it's like one quick line and then never again.
Yeah. I'm sure it'll come up. Well, because, going back to the beginning of the manga, when he confronts Griffith and gets close to Griffith, his brand is causing him so much pain. He has like a spurt of blood fly out of his neck, and he goes flying backward, right? And that's pretty difficult to overcome, I would say.
Yeah, he does it.
Yeah. On Femto's end of things, right?
And a cool thing when he is in the manga first confronting Griffith, this is before the Golden Age arc, Griffith like stops him, and Guts is like pissed off, but he's like frozen. But then you just see Guts getting a little closer, right? Yeah.
Closer.
And then Griffith gets pissed, and he's like, nope, go away.
Yep. And so I think all of these abilities and equipment and things Guts is getting. I mean, he's essentially leveling up from level 1 to 100 in preparation for the final boss fight.
Yeah.
He's
just doing some farming.
Berserker armor. He's got the tattoo over his brand to reduce its influence. He's got his weapons. Now he has his magical sword that can kill the undead. So, who's to say that if he got close enough to Griffith to do that all over again, that he wouldn't even be stopped?
Which, FYI, you do fight Griffith, or I should say Femto, in this, and it is a annoying fight. I think actually the first time I fought him,
considering they never actually
fight. I think the game glitched the first time I fought him, because I played for an hour and just kept dying, could not beat him. And then the next time I played, I did the exact same strategy and won like the first try.
Oh, nice.
So I don't know. I think the first time it was just glitching for me and just screwed me over. But man, it pissed me off. Like, why is this not working?
There are some old games that let's just say they irked me. So in the PS2 game, you never fight Femto, I don't think. But they did add like a fan service battle where Guts and Griffith fight one another on the mass grave.
Oh, nice.
Even though that never happens, but it's like we're making a video game. Let's have fans live out an alternate ending to the manga. Because hey, if there's one place that Guts is gonna get his revenge, being on the graves of all of his former friends.
That is, I do love that grave too, because it's how Rickert trained to be a blacksmith, and he just recreated like as many swords that he could remember. It's so cool. Such a cool little thing.
Damn. Oh, you're sucking up souls like Seminote?
Yes. So
what's going on?
I now remember how the thing actually works. When you get that purple or pink bar up, whatever you want to call it, the guys you kill drop this little resource, and it fills up that yellow bar that's kind of grayed out right now. And once once that's all the way up, that's how you do the like big ol' move. Stop knocking me on my ass.
That was that giant like slam you did with a bunch of fire coming out of the ground. Yeah, I can definitely say from watching you play this that I don't think I would enjoy
It it's a pretty mindless game, but like
that was the word that came to
yeah,
mind.
but I don't know. I have a nostalgia for Dynasty Warriors because I played the shit out of
Yeah.
it when I was younger.
I actually really liked the first Zelda game that was Dynasty Warriors style. Oh man,
I didn't even know that was a
they
thing.
just came out with a new one. Yeah, what the hell is it called? I think they used the Twilight Princess looking character models. It was the first Zelda game on the Switch, and yeah, I can't remember it for the life of me. But it is Dynasty Warriors in style, and you can play as Zelda and Link and Ganon.
Huh.
At least those three. And it does a couple of things different, I think, that actually, it makes it there's a bit more depth to it than imprinting the square button on
Yeah.
the thumb.
And this does too. It has like little things, but nothing that's gonna make it more than just a button masher. Like when you fight,
Yeah.
oh, like right here, I have
will
throwing
warriors.
knives now,
That's what it's called.
so I can throw throwing knives. So you get like items and
Yeah.
stuff.
Dude.
But
So,
yeah. No, that
Sorry,
was
go
pretty
ahead.
much it. Go ahead.
So, I'm a big Dungeons and Dragons fan. I started playing the 5th edition 6 years ago now when it first came out. And the first character I ever made was a Dragonborn guy named Balasar. And you can imagine
This is
he
the
was
big
like
attack.
a black-scaled, 6-foot tall dragon
Yeah.
guy. Now, see, that's pretty epic. I like the raining blood.
Yeah, it gets those attacks get way cooler too.
Yeah. And so Balasar's primary weapon was a greatsword. And everybody was like, oh, you're just playing guns. You're just playing guns. And I'm like,
Yeah, right. Like so.
and my class was barbarian, so he got pissed, took less damage, and dealt more damage, and swung a big ass sword. And I noticed after a while, I'm like, as a barbarian with a greatsword, I don't have any method of hitting targets at range. What can I do to close that gap a little? So I had the DM, I asked the DM if I could get a blacksmith to make me a dart belt that would go over my chest
Nice.
like guts.
With bombs?
And he was like, yeah, sure. And it
With like bombs?
Not bombs, just throwing darts, because darts are an actual weapon
Oh,
in
okay.
D&D. I mean, bombs are too, but I didn't even think about that. And so I paid a blacksmith to make it. Had to wait like 3 in-game months or some ridiculous shit. And I finally get it. And then the other player's like, so what are you going to do with that? And I'm like, I'm going to throw darts. And they're like, what? And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to throw darts, because sometimes like I attack a guy next to me and I kill him, but then I don't have enough movement speed to move to the next guy, but he's close enough for a dart, so I chuck a dart. And
For
and
1d4
people are making fun
damage.
of me for it. Right, exactly. But keep in mind, I was a strength 4 barbarian with rage, so that 1d4 could be like 10 to 12 damage.
True, yeah.
And on a crit with a barbarian, you could roll more than just 2 dice for that. So I would kill little things in one hit, like goblins and like bats and like these bloody fat mosquito things, sturges I think they're called. And one time I added up all my damage in a really long boss fight, and I was like, I want you guys to know that my darts alone dealt 104 damage.
Nice.
In this battle. Suck it. So yeah, people never stop making fun of me for that, but I'm like, I don't give a shit. This makes me more versatile, and of course I'm more like Guts.
So I was watching my friend the other day, and he just watched my most recent video, which you would like. I don't know if you've watched it yet, but it's all about a story about Berserk. So
Oh, is that your
Yeah.
story or your toy? I actually started watching that just now. Before
Oh,
we were
nice.
doing this.
But so he saw that, and now he knows I'm a Berserk fan, and he was playing Dark Souls.
Yeah.
So he's like, the first thing he said when I came into his stream is he's like, Gas, I bet you would just like cosplay Guts in this game.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that's exactly what I do every single time.
Yeah, right.
I can't help it.
Every game where you can make a strength-based class, you
Well,
gotta
and
be
From
Guts.
Software has confirmed that yeah, they are huge Berserk fans, and they purposely
Oh yeah,
put
Miyazaki is a Berserk
yeah,
guy.
and they purposely put that sword in all 3 of those games. But I don't get too far into RPG, like role playing in games. But man, Dark Souls, Berserk, I straight up like wear armor that puts me at a disadvantage. But man, it makes me look like Guts more, you know? Like,
Right. Dude, I'm telling you, you need to play Dragon's Dogma because you can feed Guts.
I should. I don't have it though. Oh, I got perfect somehow? I don't even know how to do that.
You could probably get it for cheap now.
I mean, that game is like 8
True.
years old.
It's up there.
Mm-hmm. Like you can, so there's like 9 classes. There's like 3 magic classes, 3 warriors, and like 3 stealth / range classes. And one of the warriors is the greatsword user,
Yeah.
right? And I mean, if you got the armor and the weapon, you're basically Guts. And there's one ability you have where, you've got your pawn, and you can summon 2 other pawns from other players and have like an NPC trio with you. And if you have a great sword like Guts's, you can actually launch your allies up into the air.
Oh, wow.
By springboarding them off your sword. And if you're fighting like a tall monster or like a griffin, you can actually grab on and then scale that monster and hurt them.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, there's definitely some Guts-ish things you can do in it.
Speaking of, what's your favorite Guts-ish thing that he's ever done?
Probably just when he walks up to someone and he's like, yo.
And then
I'm
they
pretty
just get
sure I
feared
use
by
the
his
word
side
yo in my
alone.
life. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I say yo because Guts says it. At least because of the English translation.
Oh my god. That's actually hilarious.
But if you mean like combat wise, let me think about this one. I really like in the Lost Children arc when he's fighting the 2 armored bugs in the forest that like
He can't break their armor with his swings. So he blows one up with his cannon, and then the force of the cannon knocks him back, and he uses that momentum to spin 360
Yeah.
and break the other bug.
And that
pretty
becomes like a
badass.
special move for him. Like, he uses that move a couple times.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm a huge fan. Look at the way he's
I know,
scowling
right?
right now. He's like, "God, that bitch."
Casca!
Yeah. I'm a big fan of any time when Guts just gets the ever-loving shit kicked out of him, only to pull a fast one on his opponent, like the snake
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah, that was a great Guts moment, is after he kills the snake guy and just starts straight up torturing him.
Yep. Yeah, chaotic evil right
Yeah,
there.
he's just
I
like
would say.
summoned them. He's like, what? What do you mean, summon who? Summon them, you know. Just do it.
Yeah. But he
Yeah,
won't do
well,
it.
he can't do it even.
Well, an apostle can summon the God Hand, right?
Not
Because
at
the one
will.
guy does it.
Like,
No, not at will. They need a big
and they need a. I could be wrong here, but I think they also need something to sacrifice.
They do, yeah. Because it doesn't work on the snake guy, but it works on the chubby Duke because his daughter is there. And the Duke is like, take him, take the black swordsman, and oh, what's the brain guy's name?
Yeah, I don't remember.
The oldest member of the God Hand. He's like, that one is not for you,
Yeah.
or something.
Which brings back my theory that Guts can't die. The little snippet there.
Well,
yeah, but I mean he's branded. You know, he's already been
Yeah.
claimed. That's how I took that.
True, true.
Not to mention, I have a theory of my own that, I mean, this might be confirmed somewhere, that all of the pain and suffering and the lives that Guts takes as a branded person feeds into the
power of the God Hand.
That's
'Cause,
interesting.
You know, how else does Slan enjoy him? You know what I mean? I just feel like she's the kind of creature that enjoys the pain Guts inflicts on people, even when they're like miles apart in different realities or realms.
Could be. Interesting. Very interesting part.
Mm-hmm.
So look at this. We're getting into Zod. Before I do that, though, there was a little part in that cutscene I wanted to mention. They didn't show it, but it was like that moment that it would happen. Is Griffith Stare. You know what I mean?
Oh, you mean where he just like dead eyes somebody?
Which, not just the writing in this manga and anime, but the artwork too is amazing. And showing emotion, like showing Guts' rage, is just... I've never seen anyone convey rage like that with a pen and paper. You know what I mean?
The facial drawings, you know, in Berserk is
fucking charts. Absolutely.
Like in Griffith's eyes when he does that eagle eye thing, it literally looks like a bird's eye just honing in on his victim.
I mean, he also just looks dead inside.
That as well, yeah. But like a different kind of dead.
Then he smiles and he's like, and you're like, oh my god, he's 12 again.
I've actually seen. Because I was looking for Guts pictures for that video, my latest video. I saw one of Guts' eyes throughout the years. They were all like lined up. It's interesting to look at, like to see the change, and it had my mind going.
Because not only has Guts gotten older as a character, but I mean, what is he, like in his mid-20s
At the current part of the manga or something?
I would say 30s, because he's graying a little too, so... Well, here's the thing. The Berserker Armor, I think, ages him too. I think that's a thing.
Oh, for sure. It's sucking his life away. What was I gonna say? So yeah, if you look at Guts' eyes all lined up like that, it's not just, you know, his getting older as a character, but you can see Miura's skill increase. Like, look at Guts in Volume 1 and look at him in Volume 30.
Yeah.
Guts started with like a young, round face, and now he has like a chiseled Schwarzenegger of a jaw.
And that's one thing that kind of makes sense why there's so many gaps in between chapters, because of the art. The art has to take fucking forever. I mean, those pictures of like...
Well, you know it's only him, right?
So, like, those pictures of, like, demons, like a bunch of demons, it's so...
Oh, they've got to take...
And I love them because you look at them at a glance and it just looks like a mess, right? Just this mess of which is what it's supposed to look like. Just a mess, like an army of demons. But if you look closely, you can see every individual demon. And you can pick them out. And they're normally demons that you've seen prior in the story.
Yep.
Maybe not important demons, but all like just demons that are also in the horde in the background. But still, you know.
Yep. And if this were any other story, it would be draw a bunch of demons and fill up the screen.
Right.
You know?
But that he always puts that extra amount of detail that just...
You say extra detail, I say like 3 extra plus.
yeah.
Oh, hey, this is the moment in the English dub where Goku can't stop Guts.
Yeah. Good old Goku.
God, what is his name?
Gatsun? Something like that? Gatsu or Gatsan? Gaston.
It might be Gaston.
I think it's Gatsan. It's like Gatson or something along those lines. I gotta reread the manga, man. Dude. I gotta start over from scratch.
And when you do, you gotta listen to the 97
during
soundtrack.
all of it.
and the Sword of the Berserk soundtrack.
Just in repeat.
Which is yet another game based on Berserk that has a title that makes sense.
I know, right?
Bonus points for a naked Zod.
Yeah. Good old naked Zod. I mean, are you truly a warrior if you're fighting with clothes? Yeah.
With armor.
You gotta be nude.
Yeah, dude, Zod's great. Is this just a one-on-one?
For...
Oh, wow, he suddenly has clothes. All right, points for that.
I love this. I love this fight in the manga and anime and stuff. When he just Guts strikes him, he's like, oh. You chose to sunder my sword instead of going for the kill. I've never been hurt by a human in so many years. And then he just turns into a demon, and Guts is like, fuck.
You know, Berserk is really just about all of the other characters getting crushes.
Right.
You know?
That is
really
the
what,
ultimate
we're
theory
Griffith,
right there.
We're talking Casca, we're talking Zod, we're talking Slan, man. They all just want a piece of him.
It's true.
And can you blame them?
Even Flornice, or Flornice, however you say her name. She seems to have some...
Oh, fairness?
Yeah, the ex-Holy Chain Knight leader.
Yes. Even she is like, oh, I gotta calm down.
Oh, I got a bad joke that I won't say.
Not
I mean, the manga's not appropriate, so yeah.
That's
Yeah.
really true.
I mean, you know the part
manga,
with her that's
not
very
me.
not appropriate.
Yes. Oh, dude, this sequence just...
Yeah, this is what I was just talking about.
I love it. And Guts is like, oh, what? Dude, so, his transition here, where the steam just billows out of him, I stole this for a D&D monster in the, not the current, but the one campaign before my current one that I ran. And I was so sad. There were 2 Berserk fans at the table, and neither of them caught.
Oh my god, losers! I'm kidding.
I had the players. So I was the dungeon master. I had the players go to this town after this woman comes to them for help because the players essentially warded off a dragon as low-level characters, which gave them this reputation as like monster slayers, even though they really aren't. But this woman comes to them anyway and is like, hey, we heard you guys survived a dragon attack. We're pretty sure we have a beast murdering people in our village. Will you come help us? And of course the players are like, yeah. So they do some research and they find out that this one guy he's really reclusive, and this woman has gone missing, and a whole bunch of the village's hunters have been murdered out in the woods, and they've been torn up by some powerful beast. And so they confront this guy after following him to his like shack in the woods, which has an underground tunnel.
Okay.
And he's there with this woman, and he's basically pleading her to run away with him. And she's like, no, I don't want to. And the players step in to save her, and that's when he like turns into the Wolfman. And not like a full-blown werewolf, but he just gets like really hairy and muscular, and he picks her up and runs away into the woods. So they chase him, right? And they catch up to him, they corner him, and they get into a battle with him, and he goes to like 0 HP. And my one friend was playing a half-orc barbarian, and he's 1v1ing this guy, while the rest of the party catches up, right? And like right here, how Guts hits Zod, and then he like bursts into a cloud of steam. When the half-orc barbarian cuts the Wolfman down to 0 HP, the Wolfman bursts into a cloud of steam, and I describe how you can hear the snapping bones and ripping of muscle, and then he steps forward, and he's 8 feet taller, and he's this beefy fucking werewolf thing that's basically Zod.
Nice.
And neither of the players got it, and I'm like,
oh my god.
Like, they enjoyed the battle, and you know, they had a lot of fun, but neither. I was like, so guys, you know what I was inspired by for that? And they were like, no, what? I'm like, come on. Oh wow, they actually animated this instead of did the cut.
They did both, I guess.
See, this is another one of those great moments where you're just enjoying some anime, and then it's
shit
like,
hits the fan.
There's creative forces at work here, buddy.
By the way, that fight is actually really hard first time around. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Any fight with Apostle is pretty hard.
There, he's my boy.
Yeah, right. The Behelit. Another thing.
See, that's your face
Yep.
talking right there. The Baelit fell into view just before Zod's killing attack.
And Zod knows it. He's like, oh shit, the God Hand's speaking to me right now.
Yeah.
I will die if I kill this person.
Yeah.
Yep,
Their
right there.
boy.
And all the way up until this point, it's like, oh, it's just like a Minotaur thing. Oh, nope, it has wings too.
Yep.
A prophecy.
No, a prophecy.
A true friend to this man. That is such a genius way to word it.
Was.
Because the whole reason Guts leaves is to become a true friend to Griffith. And the whole reason...
Right, because Griffith says he can't see anyone as his equal unless they too have a dream that they pursue. And everybody in his army, they're just following him, man. They're not.
Now
doing
I have a
their own
question
thing.
about that. Do you think Griffith was bullshitting there? Because he was with the princess, and he needed to impress the princess, right?
You mean when Guts overhears
Yeah,
him in the
because
fountain?
do you think Griffith actually knew Guts was there?
No, I don't think Guts knew. I'm sorry, I don't think Griffith knew Guts was there. Well, don't they turn and look at each other after that speech?
I feel like it's a camera angle thing. Like, it looks like they could see each other, but I don't know if it's meant to be. I feel like we'd have to look at the manga to...
Guts is definitely at the bottom of a long
Yeah,
stairwell.
and it's nighttime, but...
No, I don't think he knew Guts was there, and I don't think he was putting on a show for the princess. I mean...
But you see why I'm saying that, right?
I would...
Yeah. In fact, I would say the only time Griffith is not putting on a show are moments like that. Because like this right here, when he's like hamming it up and being friendly with his troops, that's not really, in my opinion, that's not genuine.
Yeah.
He's doing it because he knows how they view him, and he needs them to continue to hold him in this otherworldly light.
I never thought of that. So then it would be like Griffith, or I mean, Guts would be the only one who's seen Griffith's real side. Maybe Casca. Maybe Casca as well.
Maybe Casca from the side of Guts and Griffith. I'm curious if we ever get more of Griffith's backstory. We really don't know anything about him, do we?
Yeah, we know little like bits and pieces. Like he sold his body that one time, and
I mean, I guess his backstory is the Golden Age.
True. Yeah, the only real backstory of like his childhood, which I know that's what you're getting at, is getting the Behelit.
Like, who were his parents? What did he do before he? Who gave him the idea or the training to lead a band of children mercenaries?
God Hand guided his way the whole time.
Yeah. Are you saying that the old woman that gave him the Baelit was actually one of the God Hand in disguise?
Guaranteed. There's even parts of that dream where the woman turns into...
Oh, is one of the floaty
Yeah, it turns
Cenobite
into
guys?
one. Not the first time they have that dream, but they like cut back to it a few times, and yeah, it'll turn into one of the Cenobites.
You're right. Oh, the prince, man.
Yeah, that's a sad part. You just feel bad for Guts, because it's like, aw, man.
Yeah, dude, that's a stain that never goes away.
And he's not an assassin. Guts is not an assassin. I mean, he kind of botches the assassin, in a way. Because,
I mean,
he gets caught. I mean, not caught, but he, like, an assassin, in theory, you go in, you never get seen, you kill the guy without them noticing, and you get out, right?
Right, yeah, but I think Griffith was counting on all
True.
of that. Griffith wanted a show. And the fact that the prince also gets taken out is just good happenstance.
Griffith does
for
smile
Griffith.
when he hears that news. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And Griffith does say at one point, it's actually right after Guts does that fight where he goes alone against those charge knights that we just fought. Where Guts is like, oh, I'm sorry, Griffith, I charged ahead again. And Griffith's like, oh, don't worry, that's part of my plan. Like, I know you. I know you're gonna do that. Like, yeah.
Right. Yep.
Like, how the fuck did Griffith get that kind of tactical experience, you know?
Could just be natural.
If you think
Could
about
just be
it,
natural.
I mean, if you think about it, up until the moment he loses to Guts,
isn't Griffith kind of a Mary Sue?
What do you mean by that?
He does everything right. Nothing bad ever really happens to him until he loses to Guts.
Arguably, yes. Because there's...
I mean, I'm not saying he's Mary Sue in a bad
No.
way. Like, usually when you
Call a character a Mary Sue, people are insulting them because that just means lazy
So
writing.
what I'm saying is, yes, technically you're right, because everything is in Griffith's plan, but there's still bad things in his plan that happen to Griffith. Case in point,
I guess he does take an arrow
that,
to the chest.
also case in point, he sells his body for money at one point, which is a shitty thing to have to do.
Oh yeah, that's a pretty bad thing.
But
pretty
he
bad
did
thing.
it purposely. It was consensual, and he
And it's a perverted
very it's
sequence.
very because I mean he was what 13 at that, like he was a young dude. But
Oh yeah.
and I love when they bring that character back. Oh my god, it's so great and he sees
the
and he
Battle of
sees
Goldring.
Griffith. He's like, oh my god, do we remember our nights together? And his Griffith's like, I barely remember
Yeah.
you. I just used you. Like, you're a piece of shit. Die.
Oh yeah, exactly.